Hey guys, welcome back to another quick update. I do want to mention something real quick before we get into it. On my previous video about the Cleco container giveaway, somebody pointed out that instead of copper, I had gold written on here, which is wrong because the 1/8 inch Clecos are copper and not gold. And I think I know how I did that. When I was making these, I put the black vinyl in the cutter and I put black, and then I put the silver one in there and I put silver. Well, I use gold vinyl for the copper because I don't have a copper colored vinyl, and this kind of looks like copper. And so I think just because I put gold vinyl in the cutter, I just wrote the word gold. So anyway, whoever wins these, I did fix it. You can see it says copper on here now. So you get a correct set of Cleco containers. Hey everybody, welcome back to another update. This is kind of a short update. I really haven't got much done in the last couple weeks because I've been waiting to paint the interior of my fuselage. I did get it primed, which I'll show you in a second, but I'm going to start off with answering a question that a lot of you guys are asking. And you might notice on the last couple flying videos that I made that I had some masking tape right up here on the corners of my cruiser. And the reason that tape was there is just because in this area, there's a little bit of an opening that really cold air gets into. And when it's negative 15 degrees out, it was letting a lot of cold air into the cabin. Now this winter, I was supposed to make a couple fiberglass fairings that would, close this off pretty nicely. But then I got busy building the Super Duty and kind of forgot about the cruiser, so I never made those fairings. It's on the to-do list, and hopefully before next winter, instead of having tape up there, I'll have some nice fairings. All right, so the first thing I'll do is kind of take you down the table here and show you some of the things I've been buying that I'm going to need eventually here for the Super Duty. But the first thing I'll show you is the nose gear fork. Now, the steel part I have at the powder coaters. It was supposed to be done today, but when I went to pick it up, they said it won't be done until Monday. But what I've done with this part here, which will eventually get primed and painted, is I've sanded all of the edges. So all the edges are nice and smooth. There's no machining marks there. And then, if you guys have one of these, if you're building a Super Duty, you'll know what I'm talking about. The corners here, you can see that everything is rounded except the front parts right here. This is still flat. And the corners on here are machined at an exact 90-degree angle, which makes the corners fairly sharp, even down on the bottom. So I've taken sandpaper and rounded all of these corners because it makes it smoother to the touch, it's not as sharp, and it helps the paint stick to this better. When you have a 90-degree edge, that paint will not adhere or stick to the very corner or edge, and that's how you can get chips in your paint. So hopefully having this a little bit rounded gives that paint a chance to just flow around instead of kind of separating between this edge and this edge. So anyway, this is all ready to go. Obviously it's drilled. I just need to get my steel gear leg back from the powder coater. And the next thing I have here is an ELT that I bought because I do need to get it mounted inside the fuselage. And there will be rivets that go on the bottom of the fuselage holding the mount. So obviously that has to be done before the fuselage is painted so I can paint those rivets. And then also I need to mount my ELT antenna. So I need to do that on the top of the fuselage. The next thing I have here are a bunch of switches. I think there's 9 of them in here, regular switches. And then I have one of these locking switches for the master switch, which is the exact same switch that I have in my cruiser. I get all my electrical stuff from Stein Air. So I got the switches from them, all the wiring and the terminals and everything like that, I always order from Stein Air. All right, going down the line here, I bought some contactors. This is a starter contactor, and that is the master one. Honestly, I don't know what the difference is or how they're built differently, but this is meant for intermediate duty because it's just for the starter. This one's meant for continuous duty. So I've got these, I was putting an order in and I figured I'm going to need these eventually, so I might as well order them now. And then I also bought a key switch. So this is the, the key to start the airplane, and comes with the keys right there. So that's pretty nice. I'll need that eventually. I am working on my panel right now. In fact, this is what my panel will look like. This is I guess a CAD file from Aircraft Specialty. I'm having them cut out my panel and finish it, and they'll silk screen all the labels on. They're really great to work with. I'm going to have a lot more information about Aircraft Specialty and what they're doing with the panel, but this is just kind of a look at what I'm currently doing. All right, now I bought 3 of these push-pull cables, and so it's going to be for parking brake, cabin heat. I am going to have a defroster for the front windshield. So I bought 3 of these. I kind of like these silver ones, the aluminum ones. They're much better quality than the ones I put in my Cruiser. But I was thinking I'm probably going to need to get one more because I'll have a fuel-injected engine, and I think you'll have an alternate air source. It doesn't have carburetor heat, but it does have an alternate source for air. So I think I'll need one more. But anyway, I bought 3 of these for now. All right, now the thing I've changed my mind on with the Super Duty is I am going to use the sliding seat option. When I put these on a scale, the sliding seat parts weigh 7.5 pounds. When I put my aluminum tubes on the scale, they weigh 1.5 pounds. So we're looking at a 6-pound difference. And when I start thinking about the benefits of having the sliding seats, like being able to move them forward so that I can load coolers or a person or whatever I want into the back of the airplane. Now, I've mentioned before that I am not installing a 3rd seat in the back of my Super Duty because I just don't think I'll ever need it. I've already had 2 4-place airplanes and never once had anybody in the back seat. But I am making it possible to put a back seat in. So I'm still, putting in the seatbelt attach points and things like that. And the seat just bolts in. So instead of bolting in the seat, I'm going to make like a nice cargo box or something like that to where I can put more camping gear in, basically. So having the sliding seats, I think, might be a better option to be able to slide those seats forward and to have better access to the cargo compartment. It's only a 6-pound difference, and when I take into account that I won't have in the back seat, I won't have in the seat belt, I'm probably going to make up that 6 pounds by eliminating those parts in the back. And I did get if you guys remember on one of the previous videos, I had a real hard time getting this valve stem in here. And I guess what I've learned is unless you have the proper tool to actually pull it through, no matter how much soapy water you put on here, you're not going to get it in. So I took it to Bell Tire, and within about 2 seconds they had it in there. So that was pretty nice. This is ready to go. The reason my wheel is not fully built yet is because there's an O-ring here that you stretch over the wheel and then bolt this half in, and before you bring the tire up, you move that O-ring to the center, and that's what seals this because these are tubeless tires. But I cannot get this O-ring over the wheel. I actually need another person. We need like 4 hands in there to be able to stretch it and put it over. So I'll just wait until somebody can come over and help me with that. In the meantime, it's basically ready to go. As you can see, I have my paint booth back up. I have these curtains here are laying on the floor because there's a cable that attaches to the door. So I have to detach that cable, open the door, then attach the cable, and then I can raise that curtain here. So anyway, that's the curtain. This is the fuselage, and as you can see, the inside is primed. I did use the good epoxy. It's the SPI epoxy primer. I don't like using rattle can primers, and I would highly recommend you don't prime and paint your interior with a rattle can. It's just not tough paint. It's not going to withstand foot traffic and wear and tear. So this is a real good epoxy primer. I'm a terrible painter, as you guys probably figured out with my Cruiser. I'm never happy with my paint jobs. The primer went on perfectly smooth. There's no orange peel whatsoever. But as usual, I'm still getting that little bit of grit in the paint. And what I think it is I just think my paint gun is not atomizing the paint properly. So I'm not going to actually paint the interior green until I buy a new paint gun. I'm going to get a different brand. I think the DeVilbiss is just junk. So anyway, but I think a Scotch-Brite pad will just kind of knock that down, and I'll get the primer nice and smooth and scuffed up, and then hopefully the paint will go on real nice. Well, as you guys can see, I really haven't got a lot done in the last couple weeks. It's kind of everything I need to do is depending on getting that interior on the Super Duty fuselage painted. Once it's painted, you know, the landing gear is pretty much ready to go. The firewall, all that stuff I can start getting together. I can start mounting some avionics. I can get that ELT mounted. I can put in the cabin frame with a panel and start, you know, laying up some avionics and stuff like that. So a lot of fun stuff happening, but I just need to get that fuselage painted first. If you guys haven't checked out the previous video about the Cleco container giveaway, make sure you check that out. I know this isn't something that everybody wants or needs. Obviously, any container will work, but you know, these are just nice ones with labels on them, that's all. But if you're interested in winning those, check out the previous video. I did take my seat frames to the local interior place. This is a company that does aircraft, boats, cars, pretty much any kind of interior work that you need. My neighbor Len had his entire Velocity interior done with this place, and my other neighbor has a twin Baron, I think it is, and he had his whole interior done by this place, and they do really, really nice work. They're far cheaper than any of the other aviation seat companies that are out there. I'll give you the final price on my seats once we finalize some details. I think I'm getting mine made in what's called ultra leather. It's just a real nice, fine, smooth leather. It's gonna be brown, like the color of a football, because that's gonna go real nice with the green. So anyway, once I get those, it'd be nice to actually put those in. Hopefully the fuselage will be painted by then. So anyway, if you guys are building, get back to building. I'm gonna go do a trip at work and come back, and then hopefully I can, by that time, maybe get the fuselage painted and finally get some progress made.